Okay, mic test. Okay, all right. So let's continue from where we left off a while ago. Okay, we were saying that we have risk measures by which we can quantify risks. So risk measurement is very important, and we said that this what we have discussed is an extension of what we have discussed during session one, where we only focus on singular metrics, EF, ARO, and then compute for SLE and ALE. Now that method has a disadvantage because you're only looking at one value. And we said that uh, there is always uncertainty as far as events are concerned. So a while ago, we were discussing the use of Monte Carlo simulation in order to generate an average based on a distribution of losses. And then we can also compute for the VAR, and you have the expected shortfall. Now let's discuss cases about this. Okay, I'm sure you're familiar with the Barings Bank. This case demonstrates the consequence of control failure. So what were the key facts? Itong bank na to 1762 pa to, no? A very old bank, one of the oldest banks of UK, United Kingdom. And then yung isa si Nick Leeson, diba si Nick Leeson who was stationed in Singapore. So he engaged in derivative speculation. Hanggang umabot ng 1.3 billion na yung losses niya. And then in 1995, this led to the collapse of Barings Bank. So imagine, caused by just one person, si Nick Leeson. Nakulangan ng control dito, no? Okay? Control failure talaga to. Bakit pinayagan yung isang tao na makapag-trade ng ganun, no? So key issues were lack of segregation of duties, weak internal controls, and also poor oversight. Okay? Why was one person in Singapore, an employee of Barings Bank, allowed such leverage in order to do tradings of derivatives and speculative pa, no? And the rest is history. Grabe nangyari dyan. So, as I was saying, grabe yung massive na derivative losses niya. Okay, and the core risk failures here are lack of segregation of duties. Okay? And ang problema nito, si Leeson, hinandle niya both yung trading at saka yung settlement. Diba? Trading and settlement. So walang control. So there was weak financial internal controls, and it was really a failure of management oversight, causing the bank to collapse. So, inulit ko na lang, yung risk lessons dito nung kay Nick Leeson ng Barings Bank, nag-collapse, naging bankrupt noong 1995. Internal control failure to. Operational risk concentration, nakakoncentrate sa kanya both yung trading and settlement. And then, walang oversight, lack of independent monitoring. So, grabe, no? What do you think? Could Monte Carlo have helped manage that? Okay, probably yes, no? Kasi yung probability of extreme derivative losses, Okay, so the company did not look into the possibility of tail risk exposure, and Monte Carlo could have helped by looking at the tail risk exposure. Okay, then another case, another very popular case is the Lehman Bros, no? Lehman Brothers. Ito naman, nag-collapse in 2008. Okay, ano yung mga risk factors niya? Ito naman, importance ng risk concentration and liquidity management to again, lumang establishment na to. Well, not as old as Barings, no? Ito naman, founded on 1850. Nag-collapse naman siya noong 2008. So, 158 years. Ang key exposure niya, yung MBS, yung mortgage-backed securities, na overexpose sila to mortgage assets. So if we analyze yung naging failure ng Lehman Brothers na to, okay, extreme leverage ratio, very extreme. If I'm not mistaken, if I recall, 30:1. Tapos yung liquidity risk nila, yung short-term funding dependence, masyado silang nag-depend sa short-term funding. And also concentration risk. Masyado silang exposed to real estate assets. Okay? So yung diversification it did not move. Hindi na implement or hindi tiningnan. Okay? And this was during the global financial crisis. In fact, nag-trigger to ng global financial contagion, di ba? 2008, the global financial crisis of 2008. And si Lehman Brothers isang very prominent yung niya doon, yung role niya doon. So, nakatulong kaya yung si Monte Carlo? Nakatulong kaya? Siguro kung nag-Monte Carlo simulation sila, siguro they could have stress test yung mortgage portfolio nila. Maybe under thousands of housing scenarios, no? Housing price scenarios. Kasi pwede yun eh. What if the prices go down like this? So sana pwede lang nakita yung yung VAR, yung value at risk nila. Okay? Also, siyempre nagka-problema sila sa diversification. Para sana na-reduce yung yung systemic exposure nila. So, what is this telling us? Ang risk models, it should include an analysis of extreme scenarios. Both si Barings at saka ito, kulang sila dun eh. No? There was a lack of risk models that included extreme scenarios. And the rest is history. Okay? Sana kung nag-Monte Carlo sila, they would have produced a distribution of potential losses. And that would have allowed them to analyze more yung risk risk profile, no? Okay, so dalawa to, no? Si Lehman Brothers, I could name others. Okay, marami pa. Metal Gazelle Shaft, ang daming cases na ganito, no? But itong cases na to, it illustrates a fundamental challenge in risk management. Oftentimes, na-underestimate kasi ng management yung probability and severity of extreme cases, extreme events. Okay? Yun ang medyo hindi na natitingnan, no? And that's very important for a very comprehensive holistic risk profiling. So yung collapse ni Barings Bank. Okay, saan nanggaling yun? Operational risk. Okay, and also weak internal controls. Si Lehman Brothers naman, ito, more on systemic risk na to eh. Financial risk and excessive yung leverage na. Ano ba objective ng quantitative risk tools? For example, Monte Carlo. What is that for? Okay? Si Monte Carlo simulation, nakakatulong sana yan to help manage organizations, management, better understand the likelihood and severity of extreme outcomes. Okay? Kahit na 5% pa yung chance yan, possible pa rin na mangyari yan. And unfortunately, parang black swan, no? Maaring hindi rare na mangyari, pero pag nangyari naman, very severe. So, naba-blindside yung management. Akala nila hindi mangyayari. In this world of buka and bunny, di ba? Wala na eh. Hindi mo na masasabi na talagang imposible mangyari. Okay? Of course, makakapag-eliminate ba ng risk si Monte Carlo? Hindi. these tools cannot eliminate risk. Si VAR ba, at saka yung knowledge of VAR and expected shortfall, can it eliminate risk? Hindi. However, nakakatulong siya para magkaroon ng isang structured way to evaluate uncertainty for the company and therefore be able to support better decision making. Kasi yun naman ang importante, di ba? Given this scenario, given this, for example, average na based on Monte Carlo simulations, ang average loss would be this amount. Tapos ang 95% VAR would be this amount. And then expected shortfall, this amount. So meron na tayong tri-dimensional na data, na risk metrics in order for a company to come up with better decision making. Okay, kasi yun naman ang objective nito eh. These tools are not just to show to management na we have this metric of we use Monte Carlo simulation and we were able to compute for VAR and expected shortfall. That's the least of the concerns of generating these values. The primordial reason for coming up with this is to be able to feed this information to management and for them to come up with decision making as regards the understanding of the probability and severity of extreme cases, of extreme outcomes. Yun ang pinaka bottom line niya for better decision making. Okay, and also awareness of management na may ganitong klaseng may ganitong klaseng possible na risk loss. Okay? So ito nga itong si Barings 1.3 lang to eh. Si Lehman 100 something, no? Okay, if you take a look at the scale of the impact, no? Kino-compare nito yung scale of these two well-known financial risk failures. Si Barings Bank noong 1995, single trader, no? Nag-accumulate ng hidden derivative losses, 1.3 billion. Inam naman yun, ano? Grabe sa internal control. Okay, so weak control talaga and lack of oversight. So, for me, hindi lang si Nick Leeson ang yung management talaga. Okay, the whole risk team. Why did they allow an individual in Singapore, okay, unsupervised, walang tumitingin sa kanya, walang checks and balances, diba? Siya din yung trader, siya din yung taga-settle. Wow. Formula for a crisis talaga. And also si Lehman Brothers, corrupt during yung financial crisis ng 2008. Masyado silang na-expose sa mga mortgage-based assets, mga MBAs nila. Hundreds of billions of dollars ang exposure nila doon. So, again, this is a illustration of systemic financial risk. And also, masyado excessive yung leverage nila. And yung problem ng liquidity risk nila. Okay? Of course, iba yung cost iba yung causes ni Barings, iba yung cost ni Lehman. Pero both cases demonstrate how poor risk management can lead to catastrophic losses. And we can cite more examples, no? Ang daming ganyan. Okay? And what's primarily the cause? Poor risk management. And the underlying factor could be iba-iba, no? Iba yung sa Barings, iba yung sa iba yung sa Lehman, but overall poor risk management yung nag-cause ng catastrophic effects, no? Okay. Now now what? Once we have these figures, no, yung VAR, yung average based on Monte Carlo, at saka expected shortfall, part of the risk management analysis and decision process is control portfolio optimization. Now, yung mga controls dapat, they should be evaluated economically. Why? Bakit dapat economical yung pag-evaluate? Well, of course, di ba? Limited yung mga budgets ng organization. Hindi naman bottomless pit yung nila, yung pinanggagalingan ng resources. So there's a lot of limitation. And with the goal of maximizing the reduction in expected loss, ito yung sa risk management, the objective is for the management to maximize yung reduction in expected loss, or corollarily minimize yung expected loss. Pareho lang naman yung objective na yun. Okay? So as regards control portfolio optimization, we have this decision rule, a very basic decision rule. Ano yung basic decision rule natin? We compute for the net benefit. And how do you compute for the net benefit? Well, you take a look at how much will be the benefits. The benefits will be how much will be the reduction in risk. And then i-minus natin yung control cost. If of course yung benefit is less than the control cost, then we would say that hindi advantageous for the company yun. Kasi mas mahal yung cost ng pag-implement ng intervention na yan in order to mitigate against the risk, yung risk reduction. Mas mataas pa yung cost nila kaysa yung savings na ma-generate ng company. So very parang lang yan, NPV, So yung present value of cash inflow should be greater than the present value of your cash outflows. Okay, although dito hindi naman tinitingnan yung time value of money, but of course if it's a multi-year project, then i-consider na yung time value of money. Okay, so dapat yung net benefit should be positive in order to say that the this intervention, this project should be implemented. Okay, very basic na lang. So for example, napaka-basic na example, okay, we have 3 processes being considered. Let's assume that these are mutually exclusive, So meron tayong pinapropose na backup system. Okay, this is for data losses perhaps. Ito yung risk na tinitingnan natin dito. Data losses which could result into monetary losses, And then may backup system tayo, maybe housed not necessarily in the company but in another place. Also cybersecurity training to make sure that the risk team or the IT team is equipped enough in order to ward off mga hacks, mga cybersecurity threats. Pwedeng training sila. Or maybe network monitoring. Okay, these are 3 potential processes na pwedeng i-engage ng company. And as I said, let's assume that these are just mutually exclusive. Kasi pwedeng pwedeng backup system plus cybersecurity, etc. Okay? But sige, let's say that pwede siyang in coordination. So the cost here is 200, 100, 300. So pinakamataas in network monitoring. And then yung risk reduction, yung benefit is 350 using backup system. Cybersecurity 150. So a net benefit niya is yung risk reduction minus the cost. So it's 150. Ito naman 50, 150 minus 100. And then ito naman net benefit niya is negative. Kasi 250 yung ma-generate na risk reduction, pero yung cost niya 300. So this is negative 50. Ang budget na available is 400. So this is just a very simple capital budgeting decision making. So given that the available budget is 300, okay, so what can be done is to maximize the net benefit, 150, 50, the sum of that is 200. Hindi sinasama si network monitoring. The total cost is 350 and 150, that's 500. Sorry, the total benefit. And then this one, the total cost is 200 plus 100, 300. So net benefit is 200. So in this case, the best portfolio that should be within the budget, kasi in fact may sobra pa nga, no? Within the budget na 400, should be settled with the backup system plus the training. The total cost would be 300. Total benefit would be 500. Okay. Of course, this presupposes that maganda yung ano yung assumptions na ginawa, tsaka tama yung mga ginawa. Kasi kunyari nagbago to. Kunyari ano pala to, no? Yung risk reduction pala nito 550. Okay? 550 tapos ang cost 300. So 250 kagad yung ano nito, yung benefit. So you missed out on that on this potential potential intervention, no? Ito na sana yung pinakamaganda kasi 350 yung net benefit niya. So these things happen kasi mahirap din naman, we know that it's quite difficult to to come up with certain assumptions, no? Especially kung how will you compute now for the benefit as far as risk reduction is concerned? That can be highly hypothetical, no? And highly guesswork. So talagang best efforts na lang din. And usually, sorry, nagkakaroon din dito ng mga scenario analysis. So hindi lang isang cost yan. Can be worst case scenario, best case scenario, and the base scenario to come up with the average. Tapos pwede pang weighted, binibigyan ng weight yung base, at saka yung base, best, at saka yung worst, binibigyan din ng weights to come up with the weighted scenario analysis. In this case, singular lang pinakita ko na. But we could assume that this came from a computation using weighted, no? Weighted scenario analysis. Okay. So after yung okay, we were looking at, oops, sorry. Oops, mali. We were looking at yung control portfolio optimization. Okay. The last step will be yung board risk reporting, no? Okay, of course, i-report na sa board. This is part of your communication and governance process. So yung last part nitong natin, communication and governance. Why? Kasi yung mga let's say yung mga part ng risk team, part ng IT, part ng financial risk team, okay, after they compute, after they make certain assumptions and come up with figures, that has to be reported to the board kasi yung board sila nagbibigay ng directives on the decision making. Dapat mapakita sa kanila yung clarity ng risk exposure ng company. And of course, the team will also come up with a recommended mitigation. How will the company work against this threats, no? Or this potential extreme losses? Paano? Okay, ano kayang gagawin? And of course, yung monitoring ng mga metrics, kung reliable pa ba yung metrics na binigay natin sa board. Kasi things change. There may be some events happening which could make the assumptions of your Monte Carlo simulation outdated. So with that, kailangan baguhin, no, yung pag-generate ng risk profile ng company. And then again, come up with a amended or revised report to the board. Okay, so of course there should be also KPIs, no? Key performance indicators. All right, so this in a nutshell are balikan lang natin class yung no? What we looked at. Let me just go back to that very quickly. Oops. Ano ba yan? Hindi ko kabisado dito yung okay, anyway, sige. Mamaya na lang, no? Yung sa ladder kanina, we will go to that again. Now, before we go to the Monte Carlo simulation, let's have a quick exercise. Okay, as I said, I'll be giving you 25 or 20 multiple choice questions. Okay. All right. So let's take a look at this. Okay, session 2, review, question number 1. What is the main purpose of the NMCS? Okay, is it to remove uncertainty, generate a distribution of possible outcomes, and predict exact results and eliminate risk? Okay, yung tatlo dito, yung remove uncertainty, predict exact results, at eliminate risk, it's not possible, no? Okay, Monte Carlo simulation does not do that. Hindi naman makakapag-eliminate ng risk yung Monte Carlo simulation. Neither can it remove uncertainty. It can only generate a distribution of possible outcomes. So that's B. Okay, so question number 2. Okay. Monte Carlo simulations typically generate what? Is it only one scenario, two scenarios, thousands, or only worst cases? Of course, you know the answer. Tens of thousands, even millions kung kakayanin ng machine, no? Kasi kung Excel lang, kung millions, baka matagal na. Baka magiging heavy na sa kay Excel. Kaya pag Excel, pwedeng 5,000. I've tried 100,000, kakayanin naman. I think nasubukan ko dati 500,000. Pero yung 1 million, medyo matagal na pag Excel. But there are other powerful softwares like R or Python that can really do pag yung repetitions natin, simulations natin 1,000. The question is not of course importante din how many kasi kung 10 lang o 100 lang, pangit yun, no? It should be something that's substantive din. Kunyari 5,000, usually ito yung ginagamit, 10,000, even 100,000. What's important is that you're able to generate thousands or even hundreds of thousands of possible outcomes. Okay? All right, so the answer here is thousands of possible outcomes. Letter C. And then number 3, what's the mean of a simulated loss distribution? What does that represent? Yung average. So for example, nag-simulate tayo, 100,000 observations. Okay? And then what do? We get the average of that, no? The mean. So what's that? Is it the worst loss, expected loss, minimum loss, or the tail risk? Of course, that's only the expected loss, no? Expected or average. Okay. So let's go to the 4th question. VAR. What does that measure? Does that measure expected loss or maximum loss at a given confidence level, average loss, or control cost? Okay, so you know this, diba? Maximum loss yun at a given confidence level. Okay, dapat mabigay yung confidence level kasi may 90% VAR, may 99% VAR. So magkakaiba yun. Siyempre, pag 99% VAR, mas mataas yun. No? Pag 90% VAR, it's a smaller value. Kasi you get the 90th percentile of your distribution. Okay? How about this? Question number 5. Si ES naman. Expected shortfall. Okay, what's that? Average loss ba yan beyond VAR? Minimum loss, median loss? Control effectiveness? And you know the answer? It's average loss beyond VAR. Okay? So we are able to identify the VAR amount. So we get the average of those values above VAR. So that's your expected loss or CVAR. Okay? Conditional value at risk. Question 6. What is scenario analysis naman? Ano yung ini-evaluate niyan? Okay? Scenario analysis. Okay, yan. Best case, base case, and the worst case. That's what the scenario analysis evaluates. Question number 7. Sensitivity analysis, what does it help identify? Sensitivity analysis. Is it accounting errors? Is it the most influential variables in the model? Is it financial ratios? Is it control cost? Pag sensitivity analysis, you take a look at variables that are very, let's say, that can affect your model. Okay, so how sensitive is the result of your model if this variable changes by, let's say, 5% or 1%? Okay, so that's what sensitivity analysis is. No? All right, so how about control portfolio optimization? We looked at this. Sabi natin si control portfolio optimization, is it maximize risk reduction within budget, eliminate uncertainty, reduce reporting? Obviously, hindi siya reduce reporting. No? In fact, timely and pertinent and relevant reports are very necessary. Okay, so you have a risk profile of the company as regards a particular asset. Tapos, magkaroon ng mga changes in the environment, changes in the assumptions. So that means your assessment of the risk profile of that asset is no longer valid, or maybe should be changed or re-evaluated and revised. So kailangan may panibagong report to the board. No? And as I said, we cannot eliminate uncertainty. Control portfolio optimization does not do that. Of course, the objective is to maximize not risk, but rather risk reduction within budget. There's a constraint here, my budget, no? So this is like optimization, just like doing a linear programming model. No? Okay. All right, so that's letter B. About number 9, Barings Bank collapse, primarily due to, ano ba yung cause ng collapse ni Barings Bank? Of course, si Nissan, si Nick, no? Anong ginawa niya? Nagtatrade ng sarili niya. Walang controls, walang oversight. So it's internal control failures. Okay, and lastly, we have this, si Lehman naman. No? Anong cause ng collapse ni Lehman? Okay, of course, we know that the answer is letter A, liquidity and leverage. Liquidity and leverage, okay? So masyado silang naka-leverage on mga MBAs nila, mortgage-backed assets nila. Okay, so that's our, now what we're going to do now is, we're going now to have our 10-minute, actually hindi abot more than 10 minutes to, no? This will now, I'll send the Excel file, okay? And then we're going to do now Monte Carlo simulation. So this will be the last part of our discussion. For now, let's have a 15-minute break kasi tuloy-tuloy tayo mamaya. Ito, no? Okay? So let's have a break first so that you can prepare yourselves when we do your Monte Carlo simulation.